Hi, my name is Lisa. Thanks for tuning in. We've got a lot to cover here, so get a snack, get comfy, and let's get started. First thing you'll see is a video outline. These are the topics that we're going to cover in this video. Let's cover creating your proposal. It's a lot of work, and most people are anxious to get started on the online piece, but you do need to know that probably 80% of your effort should go into the planning, okay? You need to think about the issue that you want to impact. You need to think through how to evaluate the success of the project that you're considering. You need to think about the people you're going to impact. You just need to slow down and go through that process. Make an outline and then consider beginning at the end. I find it easier to think about, here's the problem. Here's what we want the problem to look like after our project. And so now, work it backward. There are other items you need to consider, such as, does this serve an adequate number of people compared to the size of your request? This one trips up a lot of people. Maybe $2,000 isn't a lot of money, but does it really only impact 10 people? Is that going to be competitive against an application that maybe for the same amount of money impacts 60 people? Be thoughtful to that. It may be that it does only impact 10, but it makes a huge impact in the lives of the 10 people. You better spell that out for the reviewers. Don't assume that they would make that connection. You're much more familiar with this need probably than our reviewers will be. Be prepared to tell a story. This story needs to illustrate the need. It might be the story of your group. It might be about the people that your group sees and works with. It might be the lives that they impact or the problems that your group has solved for these individuals in our county. But you want to tell a story that illustrates the need and try to touch the heart of the person reading it. If you work through this plan on a computer, maybe you have to start with a scratch pad outline. I know I probably would. But then any details, type it in on a computer if you can, and then you can cut and paste and fool around with it. And then when you get to the actual application on our website, then you can actually cut and paste from your Word document into the application itself. Well, it's probably easier to format, make it look nice, and do all the little tricks that Word does. But it also allows you, before you get it in the computer or in the application, it also allows you to take this to someone in your group, or better yet, someone outside of your group, and say, does this make sense? What questions do you have? Is there something I'm leaving out? Because if you can find a person that's willing to do that for you outside of your group, their experience is going to be much more like a reviewer's, and they'll be able to look at it and perhaps identify some missing pieces. Now we're going to talk about using the online grant portal. You can access the portal by visiting our website, www.cfpartner.org, and then look for grants and then how to apply, or you can just type in this link. When you get there, you'll see that there is a point of entry for both counties, Lawrence County and Martin County. I guess I could take this opportunity to explain that our legal name is the Community Foundation Partnership, Inc., and we serve both Lawrence County and Martin County. If you've already registered, just log in with your email and password and you are good to go. If you haven't registered, then you will see a link there to register. Just select that, and then it will take you to a page where you'll enter your personal information. And be sure, again, for the email address to use one that you're going to look after, because that spot right there is going to be how you're going to log in, and that is how you will be identified in the system when we go to communicate with you. So if you are, let's say, a teacher and you want to use your school email address, that's cool until you change jobs. And so you might want to think that through. If you are on staff with a nonprofit, it's probably best if you use your work email. But again, one that you're going to look after. Check the box that says grant applicant. You saw that the first-time users, it's an easy process, and so what I want to caution you about, though, is don't wait too long. Once you watch this video, if you're pretty sure that you're going to want to put an application in, then go ahead and do it now, because I would hate for you to wait too long, not get approved in time to hit that application due date. So go ahead and put it in now. Once you are approved, you will get an email that will tell you so, and you can then log in with your email and password. If you don't write your password down, I think we've all gone through this before, it will, and you start guessing. Again, that's okay. It's going to let you guess, I believe, 3 times, but then it's going to shut you down. It's going to lock you out, and then try again in a half hour or so, and you might be able to get back in. If not, call our office and we will make sure that you get unlocked. But I know they say don't write down your passwords, but I'd write down your password. So if you have tight security on your computer and your email, do add grants@cfpartner.org as a safe sender in your email program, because that's what the automatic communication, like a confirmation on your grant or a confirmation that you've been approved, those type of things will come from grants@cfpartner.org. So now that you're registered and you've received a confirmation back that you're good to go, you can go to the portal. Again, you can either set that up as a bookmark or shortcut, or you can just go to our website, click the appropriate county. It'll take you right there to the portal. Log in with your email and password. Then hover over grant applicant and then select available grants. That's where you will see the grants that are open at this time. Okay, let's talk about the application now. So when you select the application that you wish to apply for, you're going to see that it has tabs, much like file folders. It says the application has 3 tabs. That is the application. You will see a 4th tab that says final report, but don't worry about that right now. That is if you are approved, you will use that tab later. So we're going to talk about the first tab, organization information. This is where you're going to enter your basic information. And down toward the bottom, it says if you are not a 501c3 educational institution or governmental entity, select no and enter information for a fiscal sponsor that's willing to accept the grant on behalf of your group. Okay, So let's say that you are a service club and you're not a 501c3, but you have this great idea that you think is really going to be great for the community. Find a 501c3 or another group listed there that would be willing to act as your sponsor. It is a big responsibility on their part because they are responsible for the grant. So hopefully it's not something that either one of you take lightly, because it's sort of like co-signing on a loan. Next, select the Project tab. You'll see boxes for starting and ending dates here. You need to estimate when the project will begin and when it will finish. You do need to be aware that projects that need to be funded prior to the listed starting date will not be funded. We don't reimburse for a project. You need to name your project. If your project were a book or an essay, what would the title be? And I encourage you to at least try to think about that a little bit instead of just titling it Operating Funds. Maybe it's something clever related to your project. If you were doing a garden project, perhaps it could be Coming Up Roses or something like that. It actually gets the attention of the reviewer, and it will help you see, properly identify the application when you go back through your records. You can save time. If you did your grant planning on a computer, you can cut and paste into the following boxes. And the project narrative, that is one of the most important spots on the application. That's where you tell that story. You explain the who, what, why of your project. You show how your project relates to your mission. You can assure the reviewer that your organization is the group that should be doing this project or program, that you have adequate staff, manpower, that it'll help your organization be more efficient, self-sustaining. There's a lot of information that you can cover here. Do be careful what you wish for. If you apply for multiple grants and then you are awarded multiple grants, make sure that you won't get yourself in a situation where you cannot carry through with what you promised. You need to then go on to the implementation box, and that's where you'll include the where, when, and how of the project. How are you going to pull this off? The next box talks about funding, and you need to make sure that you have adequate funding details here. Okay, read the description, make sure everything is included, and if up at the top you asked for, say, $3,000, but your detail at the bottom adds up to $2,500 in this funding box, that's going to raise a flag to a reviewer and cause them to question your application. So make sure that the numbers at the top work with your budget or funding section. We ask for a budget for your group too. Be sure to include that in the attachment section. So the last item there is evaluation. Tell how your group will be able to measure the outcomes of the project. What will have changed as a result of this project? And sometimes this is the very toughest part for the grant writer. And you're probably just going to have to think about this during that planning process. Consider, you could use surveys, counts, changes that can be documented. Just be thoughtful to how can we tell that this made a difference. And a lot of people take this item too lightly, and then they will say, you know, we know this project was successful based on the smiles on the children's faces. I get that, but we need some more. We need some documented proof that you were able to tell that this made an impact. After you get that tab completed, every box, then select Save and Next. Then you will select the third tab entitled Attachments. That's where you're going to fill in your mission statement. You're going to attach the requested information, documents, pictures, files, computer files, and you can either scan them and attach them, or perhaps already on your computer, or you can use your cell phone to photograph documents and attach them here. Okay, toward the bottom of the attachment page, there is a box to put your board reference information in. Okay, you're going to list who it is and their title, and then you're going to include their email address. Please double check this address, because we've had problems with folks where they guessed at it, or they just had a typo. They put too many R's, put too many L's, they left a 4 out, something like that. It's going to make a big difference to you. So be careful. Make sure that this is an officer that monitors email, that they know how to follow a link, that they're comfortable with that. Okay, we've had some folks that they just don't want to click on a link, and the wheels kind of fall off if they don't. So make sure you've got this officer that wants to help, that is comfortable with our process. Do not enter your own email address. You will not be able to forward this, and it locks up. And we've had this happen a couple times. Once because they thought, oh, well, my board reference is not computer literate, and so I'm going to handle this for them. And then another time, they just typed it in. It was an accident. They just didn't pay attention, put in their own email address, and then they had hit submit. It was too late. So be careful, be thoughtful to what you put here. And then select Save. Then go back, review all 3 tabs and attachments. After you've done your review and you're ready, select Submit. No changes are possible after submission, just like the tax software. It says, are you sure? Because once you do this, it's going to the government. Once you hit this, it's going to the Community Foundation, and we cannot change it. There's really nothing we can do. But like we talked about earlier, don't forget, because you must hit submit on or before the cycle due date. So now that you have submitted your application, you will get a very brief email from grants@cfpartner.org, and it will tell you it's been submitted. You can, even prior to getting that email though, now you can go back to the grant applicant homepage, and your application will appear as a saved application, and you can look at it anytime you need to. At that time, I believe I would contact this board officer and just, again, remind them what you've done, and that they will get this email, and all they have to do is follow the instructions in the email. They will be able to see your entire application, and which is good because they're approving it. It also gives them the opportunity to put comments in a box. I've seen all kinds of things put in that box, but we do need this reference in before these go to board review. Okay, so if you submit the application the day before the due date, it's still okay, because those applications are not going to go to the reviewers immediately. So your reference still has a week or so after the due date to get that done, but they do need to get it done. Also, on the grant applicant menu, you'll see that there's an option that says reference, and you can open that up and you can resend that board reference. You can verify that the board officer did the reference, because that status will change to completed once it has been approved by your board officer. Okay, go over some other miscellaneous information. If you do not have a PC or tablet, or you don't know how to attach a document, if you have those type of computer issues, check with your local library. They have been wonderful to work with people, and they have their computer labs. I'm not sure if your library requires appointments or what, but I'm sure that a quick call would clear that up for you, and they will work with you if they are able to. Okay, just a reminder that if you're new to the online system, we need you to register, and the registration has to be approved, so register early, and submit equals final. Okay, so once you hit submit, there's no going back. Make sure you've got all the attachments you want. There is no advantage to getting this in the first week. The only date that we will look at these is due date. Okay, and you'll have till midnight or 11:59 on the due date to get done. Again, understand that the application will be reviewed and approved, and it has to be done prior to our committee's review. Communication will be by email. Keep an eye on the email you use to register. If approved, we will get with you and we will ask for a hard copy terms of agreement with 2 signatures. And we will very likely give you a link to the form in your approval email. We will give you an email either way, as far as if your application will be funded or not. You will hear from us either way. And if you are funded, we will then use that final report tab in your application, and those will be completed online. You will still have same requirements as far as receipts and anything that you would have in the past. It will ask you questions and step through it. You can attach pictures there of your project. If there's not enough room for your attachments or your pictures, you can always send those separate to the community foundation. But we do continue to get good reports. It's been a lot of work for staff, and the only thing that keeps us going with this online process is the fact that the reviewers love it, and I'd say 95% of the applicants love it. So they also like the reporting being online, and we are getting very good feedback. So if you haven't tried it, try it now. And this is just a quick picture of our team. I thank you for watching this video. I hope you found the information helpful, and I thank you for all that you do for your organization and to make your county a better place to live. So good luck and take good care.